everybody. Welcome back to Dat Fury Radio, part 2 with Approach. I'm Howie Howard from Mr. Furious Records. We've been talking about It's Yours, the upcoming album out for pre-order. Possibly, I can't remember the schedule off the top of my head. Not a professional podcaster right now. Yeah. Possibly out by now, but probably out in a week or so. Mm-hmm. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, go back and check that out. One thing I wanted to make sure we got to was Lincoln Marshall.
Hey.
Your duo with Milk Drop that had its 10th birthday this past summer. Yeah, I remember when that first Lincoln Marshall EP dropped. It was an exciting time.
It was crazy, wasn't it? It was, so to be fair, like I was talking about, kind of now appreciating the music that I create. Lincoln Marshall was very much like you would see me in a Lincoln Marshall shirt, like, and that's because I guess in that, even though I stand, side by side with Milk as an MC on that project, but that was like me really getting into engineering, and we'll get back to that album. We'll have a official release, official revisit, and it'll be up and for all the streaming. All the Lincoln Marshall stuff will be up for all the streaming. They'll have a new master to them, but that was me getting into recording because a lot of people who were doing the recording for us had moved or stopped or did stuff like that, and it was really my attempt to make like a promo to draw attention to Milk's album, which we were spending all of our time on. So Poet at Heart was going to be like the first project that I pretty much, outside of like Tyler Anderson's track on there, I had pretty much fully produced. So, but we were trying to figure out in that time, like social media still wasn't even like it is now. We were trying to figure out, I was trying to figure out a way to kind of introduce Milk in the Datura platform. And I was like, I had a bunch of beats. We're kind of in a really good zone. Why don't we do something together? And I can piggyback off a record I just put out and bridge the gap to his album, which is kind of, you'll see, if you follow us like you have, there's always kind of that theme. It's like, oh, this group usually leads to this thing, or this solo project leads to this group. It's the Raekwon Only Built for Cuban Links featuring Ghostface, starring Ghostface type of, the best way when you're rolling around with a collective and the collective is building some momentum is tying the thing that the person was last paying attention to and pointing them where you want them to go. And so that was what Lincoln Marshall was intended to be. I was making a bunch of beats on the ASR 10. And so I was just like, let's just do some really raw breakbeat hip hop and just rap. And I had no idea that it would be received like it was. I think we were really surprised. Even people who we would have loved to pay attention to it were paying attention to it. And it became it took on its own life.
Yeah, zero to Public Enemy in about 3 years or so. Too.
Yeah, it was quick. It was quick. What a great show that was.
That was awesome, man. I remember standing in the street and hearing Chuck D's voice come over the PA for the first time, and just it was like the voice of God. Truly, just it's nothing wild. Like it. It's wild to just think too, like that many people on a street in Lawrence, Kansas, with one of the groups that introduced revolutionary hip hop, and pride in being Black and pride in being where you're from. And it's just a wild thought that, like, when Yo Bum Rush the Show dropped in, 87, no one here would have ever imagined that one day,
10,000 people or whatever the number, 8,700 people, I don't remember, would be standing on a street in Lawrence, Kansas, watching that group play. And, little
and
guy.
really, I still, at least to me, like, kind of deliver the message. Really deliver the message. I mean, it would be easy to lose the message potentially.
Bingo.
But not with Chuck, right?
Nope. And that's the beauty of it. And that's what makes me still do this at this age. You know what I mean? And not that there's a time that this runs out, but it's just like that love of being a kid and falling in love with an art form or a craft, and then just being like, I just want to keep doing this and getting better at it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then seeing
personal best. Yep.
Yeah. And then seeing people like Chuck, who were good from when we got to hear it, who came out great, still be great. And I've always had that belief in hip hop. And now everybody acts like this year they're like, this album and that album and all this stuff from these albums. Now there's no ageism in hip hop. And now it's like, man, this art form has always been that. We're just, the lens is shifted, mm-hmm. and people are paying attention to it. But it's like, there's always been people that have been around forever making dope stuff. And then we saw people early on, quote unquote, fall off when the music was still new. So they had to jump through hoops that were unknown. And then you see the evolution like anything else. So someone who, was making a hit record in 1982, by 1986, not having the same amount of relevance is because they just walked in the door. They didn't know how it was going to shift, and then you start seeing from a Rakim to a Nas to, an Outkast to, then you start seeing the evolution, how people how it adapts as it gets some legs. And then you get to folks like me or, Little Brothers or all these folks that are like, there's no reason why something that we started doing when we were 16, 14, that we shouldn't keep getting better because we had examples of people that are doing it, and now we're in a year where Clipse and De La and Slick Rick and, Rakim and on and on and on. I mean, it's been so many, Common and Pete Rock, and there's just been so many great records that it's just like, this is how it always should be. Just as important as like Mick Jenkins and Jid and, Earth Gang and all the newer that are becoming, dropping, and Kendricks, and like, it just keeps going along with all the new kids that are coming in. I'm like, this is what it should be. It should be like the rock section was when I worked at the music store, where there was anything you wanted to find, whether it was metal or mathematical or emo or grunge or whatever. There was just something of that available. And I was like, finally people are looking at hip hop like that, where it's like, man, there's a lot of different condiments to this music.
I know from last week's episode, I know you listened to the conversation I had with Ebony about the timelines and like,
yep,
how that all worked out. And yeah, he made some really good points in that one.
Yeah,
really surprised me in with what he added.
Yeah, I love that dude, man.
He's a good dude.
He is. And sharp guy,
Super sharp. There's a lot going on up there.
There is, man.
And I love to talk to him.
Yep.
So kind of like both the topics we just hit on kind of lead me back to the same question, which is like, the direct question is like, had you ever been in a group before Lincoln Marshall? And bigger question, like, what music were you making live or recorded or just for yourself prior to Ultra Proteus? Because I don't know like anything about what you were doing.
Yeah, I had been in a few groups. I came into the music in groups, so in the mid 90s, I was surrounded by a group of super talented like MCs, and just we were just youth, and they went by Skill Society, and some of them, all of them are still, you know, one member's a chef, and you know, one member works for the city, you know, like works, you know, in making decisions that matter within the city, and people are graphic designers, and you know, one of the buddies is actually my buddy Ray, DJ Dotson. He's really big DJing on TikTok, and was doing the wedding DJing with us and stuff. So it's like they were my introduction, and they were the guys that I saw doing, and they were the guys that made me fall in love with the thought of even making music. And then from that, I connected with a dude at the time called Cool DJ Rebel, Chris and the Best, who really showed me how sampling and all of it, DJing and sampling, like I learned a lot from that dude. And he did all my beats, and I made a record called Web of Thought. It came out in 1999, and it was just basically how recorded it on a 4-track. And I remember I had, you know, 2 tracks for vocals. So how I rapped the album is I rapped one side of the album, every song all the way through, and then flipped it over and rapped the next set of songs all the way through, then flipped it back over and did the ad libs for every song all the way through. So every song. And then that, you know, Rebel was really advanced at the production. I was nowhere near his league. And me, Rebel, Mac Lethal, and DJ Spin Styles had a brief group called Faces of Mars. I hated that name, but it was an acronym with all of our names, you know, Spin, Mac, Rebel, Approach. So we did, of course, Mac and I did songs together. We had a couple songs, but we never did a project. And then that led to just kind of we got busy and it wasn't moving the way I wanted. So I started making beats, which led to Ultra Proteus. And then from then I was always kind of searching for another group. Around that time, me and Brother Moses and Negro Sco were in a collective with a live band. And that was Sevenfold Symphony. And all we did was freestyle our shows with a live band. And then to kind of, you know, fast track it, when I got the collective of dudes that are currently Datura Records, which are like the Soul Servers, Attila, Milk, Royce Diamond, DJ Hyde Park, formerly DJ G Train, we formed the Dat Gang. And from the Dat Gang, it had pockets. So one of the first groups I had in that pocket, Sarah Laveau, which is another acronym for a name, Smooth, Approach, and Royce. And then that leads us to what was going to be called Board of Education, Board of something, Kansas Board of Ed, something crazy. And that was me, Lou, and Milk, then Lincoln Marshall, and then Lou and I also have a group. So yeah, I've been in a few groups. I always wanted to be a group guy. And I always wanted to be the producer in the group, the studio guy, but I had none of the studio stuff, like none of the studio knowledge, but I could rap and I could freestyle. Now I've piggybacked that to come full circle, and now I'm trying to fade myself.
Now you're finally doing what you want to do.
Now I'm trying to fade myself into the just like as we're doing right here, just the studio guy, you know? So that's kind of
that's funny. I wouldn't have guessed that because you're so good live. And you move a crowd so well.
Yeah. You would have never known that that I would want to be the guy that's not in the spotlight.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's weird. I'm very confident on stage. And then I'm easy to talk to, and I like to talk to people, but I am not comfortable in crowds. I don't like it's very weird. I'm very good at seeming way more comfortable than I really am.
I get that. When you have the mic,
yeah,
that can be comfortable, right?
Because it's what
yeah. but when it's just random in a group, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
It's if you've never performed or been an artist in that way, I think it is kind of hard to explain how. Yeah, it's performing for a group is just a completely different social experience than being in a group where nobody is performing.
Yeah. It's because we control it when it's your when you step out and you're presenting your ideas, you have a lot of say in that. You can stop it and end it how you want it to go. Even though it can, for me when I was younger, it would lead me to even like throwing up when I would do like talent shows, like dancing and stuff. I would just get so worked up because I was so nervous because it's like, it's just this great unknown. And then I got lucky when I started doing solo stuff. I was comfortable enough and I'd done so many open mics and so many like Sevenfold Symphony, like freestyle sets, and then rocking with Rebel and stuff. I had just been in the environment enough, and I got so much of the endorphin of like, you know, all of us artists need that praise and need that attention and that admiration. And like, so I got an understanding of like what felt good when it connected. Mm-hmm. So when I went to create music, Ultra Proteus was specifically created so that I could play shows. And so it was like, there's a safety there where I was like, hey, I'm going to do something that maybe make the backdrop isn't what everybody's doing, but if it's done right, I can get a reaction that I'm looking for, which will instantly bring me comfort. And then I can control that situation. When you step out of that and you're just going to a show, you have no control over it. So that's where the uncomfortable aspect, that's probably part of the, you know, ADHD brain where it's like, you know, our hands have to be so heavy in everything because it's that control factor. And then when it's out of our control, it's completely uncomfortable, you know? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when you got on stage, did you find it pretty natural once you had the mic to exercise that type of control, or did you come to that through a more kind of thinking, heady process of figuring out how am I gonna work this situation?
I wish I was that organized. I think I came off it as that organized, but I think that I loved it so much and it felt so good that I just wanted to be as close to the flame as I could be. I wanted to, and then, you know, my collecting mind and my personality of like why I listen to the music I listen to and why I would listen to it so much is that I'm just studying, you know, the same way that an athlete would watch tape. And I used to be, you know, play basketball. So it's like the whole quest was like, okay, let's not make that mistake again. So I think I got really good at watching what I thought was the way to go and trying to be closer to that side when we were all learning, where I was watching a lot of my friends just kind of like, they did what they did and that's where it stayed. And for me, I was like, okay, that worked. How do I do that? I think I was a little more, I think it's the blue collar worker mentality thing that we're talking about, where you just kind of like, you sit down in an instrument, you may not be naturally blessed to just sit down and play it. But you know, like if I do this many times, then I will, my ability will allow me to move on to the next thing. I think that was really for me with the live show stuff. I paid attention to what worked for me. And I paid attention to the things that others would do and that I would do that made me feel uncomfortable. And I was like, stay away from that. Because I have I'm real tough time with that when I watch bands play or groups play, or even when I'm watching a movie or something and it's uncomfortable, I physically feel uncomfortable, like like it's me. And I'm like, oh, I don't ever want to do that. You know?
I think if you have a superpower in there, it's the knowing to pay attention to the interaction between the artist and the audience, and just having the presence of mind to notice what's working and what's not, because so many people don't even realize that's a thing to pay attention to or can't quite read it.
Yeah.
And I think you have obviously you've honed the skill over, a lot of experience, but I think you have, if there's a natural talent in there, I think it's just having a strong sense of that, what's working, what's not.
100%. I was terrified of being embarrassed. I was terrified of like looking just amateur. And so even to this day, I'm like, there's no reason why I'll go and watch, folks that are essentially just beginning, because there's something in the magic of that raw, and then it'll remind me, you know what I mean? It's like, it reminds me of like, oh yeah, that's the unspoken thing that connects with people. And when and some people, there's nothing, I don't know, because people say, like you said, like about the live thing, that if there was something with music, that was what was the thing that was just put in me. Like I was just that part. I always give credit to the, just like, I just love it so much that it was just like my love and appreciation and just wanting to be, it just like beams through. So I think when I play, I'm just like, you're genuinely seeing a person that's like, I love that part. And then all the other things come into play from there. Then the studying, and then the knowing what you're going to do, looking at a crowd and knowing, hey, I've seen this 15 years ago. This crowd looked like this, and this is what connected. Those type of things. When I do this part, this works. When I freestyle here, this connects. When I do this a cappella to start the show, you learn those things. That's like soloing or knowing how to put your set list together.
You know Dessa from Doomtree, right?
100%, dear friend.
So, okay, we're my wife and I were huge fans. We went and saw her this summer.
As Nikki and I are too.
Yeah, we were talking to her a little bit after the show, and so the summer gigs, she had 2 musicians with her primarily that she's collaborated with for quite a while. One guy doing kind of running the samples and the backing tracks and stuff and playing some keyboards. And then a multi-instrumentalist, background vocalist, this crazy stand-up harp thing. And we didn't talk to her for long, and I can't remember what prompted this comment she made, but she said something about how like I guess it's coming back to me. I was complimenting the arrangements. I was just saying like, which were pretty different from the albums. And I was just saying, what a great job the arranger did. And she was like, kind of like, yeah, that's my music director, the keyboard guy. I can't think of his name. I will look it up and put it in the notes. I'm sorry, keyboard guy. I can't think of your name right now. But she was like, yeah, it has to be a little dangerous for me. Like I have to constantly change the arrangements so that I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing, and it gives me, it's like eating that fish that can kill you or whatever. Like it has to have that sense of danger on stage to bring it to life for her.
100% me. I want to be nervous and uncomfortable, because when I'm comfortable, it doesn't go.
You kind of mail it in, right?
I'm that personality, and I think a lot of like.
And I didn't mean you. I mean, hypothetically,
no, but I mean,
who's comfortable on stage, it'd be tempting to just kind of mail it in.
No, you were hitting it right on the point. We're friends, so it's like your speed. You know exactly. Like, no, that's because in anything in that, especially when it just comes to music, it's why like, and we can save this for another day. Like, there's the whole thing with backing tracks with artists and stuff like that. Even if that was what everyone thought was okay to do, it would never work for me, because I never want to be stuck. I always want to be able to move. I don't want to be trapped. I'm claustrophobic. I don't want to be trapped in anything. I want to be able to, and every DJ who's rocked with me, they know that like I will change the set in an instant if I look out there, because sometimes it ain't working, man. Sometimes you walk out there and what you thought isn't what's going to connect. And so I love that element of unknowing, because then that even allows you excitement. So then you can set, like, I'm excited about it, where whatever you think of the music, you're going to leave with like, well, he was really passionate about what he was doing. You're not going to.
It makes it collaborative, right? You're not. Now there's a back and forth.
There you go. You're not going to be, even if it's not your cup of tea, you're not going to leave being like, that was boring. You know, you're going to leave with like, I don't know if I liked any of that, but that was something. And I'm here for that. I'm here. Yeah. That's probably my favorite. You know what I mean? My favorite is probably like, yeah, okay. I might not buy shit after the show, but but that was really cool. I can't say that it was trash, because you can work with that. They'll give me their attention again. You know, and then that's when you make a lifelong musical friend. You know,
perfect. The latest / upcoming album from Approach, It's Yours, is available to pre-order / possibly buy, depending on the timing.
Yeah.
At daturarecords.bandcamp.com. I want to be mindful of your time. We can hang on for just a minute.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely.
We'll talk again.
Yeah. We're gonna talk
less than a year.
We're gonna talk a lot. You're gonna be annoyed with me coming up, because
I doubt it.
I
accept the challenge.
There you go. Now I have time. You'll be like, oh man, Approach wants to be on every show, but
no, man. The hardest thing about this is booking it. Mm-hmm. So if you're gonna make booking easy, then my life is easy.
That's easy, especially if I'm working. When I'm working, when like we're creating projects, that's the easiest time, because everybody wants to talk about what they're doing, you know. Definitely. And so I have a slew of things where there should be people that aren't me that are excited to talk about what they're doing.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it. And I want to, maybe you can help me with this. Not, I don't want to put you on the spot, but like I am interested in figuring out a way to do a kind of work in progress format.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't necessarily, it could be like specific to one song, or even like, I thought it might be interesting if somebody's stuck on something. Mm-hmm. To like bring it in and brainstorm ideas of where it could go.
That's a great concept.
And give people kind of a window into that.
That's a great concept, actually. I'll
You got something?
I should have followed up more, as I was working on this project, because there was plenty of like even just kind of piggybacking on that, like sending you the record without 2 songs with vocals on. I've never done anything like that. I don't like to share the idea until it's complete. It's really uncomfortable for me. Really. This
is a great ending. Let me put your mind at ease about that. This is a great ending spot, because of course, and you'll know what I'm about to say as soon as I start to say it. All I heard was about 10 minutes at voicemail quality, because I'm on Android.
Yeah.
So if it had leaked, you would know exactly where it came from.
Right when I was sending it to you, I was like, oh, this is going to be super compressed and he's not going to be able to make out anything. So I need to send it to you again.
I made out what I needed to.
Good.
And what I said, last week, like, it's a testament to what's coming that like that came through for real.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, when I hit play, I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to talk about this.
I already knew. I was like, and then when you messaged me back and you're like, I was like, that I'm missing the part about, well, hey man, can you email it over to me? Because this compressed version, I can't make out what's going on.
Didn't want to bug it. It's good enough.
Okay.
It's good enough. It sounded about like a 128 MP3 maybe.
Okay. So it sounds like all the stuff we were doing in like 2001 to when you were
totally
Napster, and you were like, I love this, and then you had a headache after you listened to it. You're like, I don't know what that sound was, and it's like, oh, that's all the frequencies that your brain should not be taking in.
Yeah. Cumbersome by Nirvana.mp3.
That cool. Now I need to send you the same take so that you can
Oh yeah, when I get the full the headphones and the waves, that'll be amazing. But I thought we could have a laugh about that. Listeners, pre-order, it's yours at daturarecords.bandcamp.com. Link in the notes/description. We appreciate you. If you enjoyed this conversation, hey, it's the holidays. Maybe share it with a friend who you think might also enjoy it.
Love that.
We will be back, Royce and Rob and I, and hopefully maybe Corey. We'll see. But the 3 or 4 of us will be doing best music we heard this year. Next week, next 2 weeks, actually. Always good stuff to discover in those episodes. And I'm always amazed by how, there's almost no overlap in our lists.
Which is awesome.
So, yeah, you just get 60 recommendations.
Do you guys...
go ahead.
Do you play what you're discussing?
No, that would run afoul of the different rules on the platforms pretty quickly. So we don't do that. We do link to it.
Beautiful.
And I will publish my personal expanded list at MrFuriousRecords.com. And I'll embed everything to make it real easy to listen to stuff.
Nice.
The one I'm telling everybody about, just the easy... I'm not saying it's my number one, but in the sort of pop leaning area... Everybody has to check out Amber Mark, Pretty Idea.
Okay.
Just knock your socks off. 90s R&B influenced pop with all the modern production touches. Crazy voice. So that's just an easy little preview of my best music I heard this year.
I love that.
Okay, and we can certainly agree on De La Soul. Give me one pick, just whatever comes off the top of your head as we go out here. Something you love this year.
I'm actually sitting here with my most plays, so I'm going to be truly honest.
All right.
I will say, oh man, there's a lot of good stuff. And I'm about to put out my list. Oh, let me look.
Where do you put your list? Social mostly?
I usually post it on my social media platform. So I had done Facebook forever. Nobody finds anything on Facebook anymore. So I started posting it I started posting it in my stories on Instagram. So it usually will come out a day or two after Christmas. I'll put it out.
I like that later list. I've edged toward mid-December, but I don't like going any earlier than that.
Because sometimes records, I noticed, so we started doing this on a regular basis how I talked in the last episode about Brent Tactic back in the day was Chachi. When we started the Datura running together, we started making it a point to post what we listened to, what our favorite records were every year. So for the most part, I think in the last 25 years, maybe I've missed 2 or 3 years or posted late. And then we also kind of like the idea of putting it up all the way through the year because that fourth quarter was always so big and traditional, and it's and it doesn't take me, I don't need 5 months to figure out if a record's good. I just need a couple of weeks, and something. So, there was a few things that really hit me. I think that the Clipse album really, really hit me, and not because the most impressive part of that record to me was Pharrell's aspect of it. Because Pusha and Mouse, I never have any doubt in their ability to be dope. And I never have any. Pharrell's just so broad that I'm like, I wonder what he's going to lock into. And he locked into a super hip hop zone that he does for them. And it was just so refreshing. It was just right when we needed it. De La's album, Oddisee, put out a 4-track EP, and I loved it. And Mick Jenkins put out, but we'll talk. Because you know me, then I'll call you 5 times and I'll be like, in this record. But I'm looking right here and it looks like I really played that Mick Jenkins record a lot. I played that Oddisee EP a lot, but De La, it's gonna it's gonna be up there. I have a feeling that I loved Slick Rick's record, and I have a feeling that the Primo and Nas record's gonna be like that for me. And then my favorite thing that I was involved in this year is Lou's record. I feel like we're talking about the best stuff. I feel like that is as a producer and a studio person, that's the best thing that I've done yet. I feel like
good. And the good news is that there's more coming, right? There's like two more EPs.
Oh man, the next one is terrifying. like that was him finding his balance. And the next one is that dude is incredible. And
all right.
The next one is really good. So
26?
Huh?
It'll come out in 2026 for sure, right? Maybe. Okay.
Maybe before.
Okay, breaking news.
There might be a little theme to what I'm doing, why I'm pushing stuff back.
There's always a plan over at Datura.
Cliffhanger. So
perfect.
Listeners,
enjoy your week. We'll catch you next time on Dat Fury Radio.
Man,
that's fun.
We'll have to we got to do like 3 or 4 more of those.